time away from each other when you're driving. It's for the best.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
In every office, there's two types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win, and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday, you lost Wednesday, you're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels & Joe. This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Golfing in 72 degrees and perfect conditions in Nebraska doesn't seem possible in December, but it is. Double Eagle Golf is your escape from the bone-chilling cold outside and a reason to keep the clubs out year-round. Book your holiday parties at Double Eagle Golf and make plans to join them for a New Year's Eve party. Gift cards make a great stocking stuffer for Christmas, and don't forget to look ahead to 2026 as spring leagues begin in February. That's all at Double Eagle Golf inside the Kinetic Sports Complex on West O Street. Online at doubleeagle.golf. Empower a child today with the Teammates Mentoring Program by building a relationship based on strengths and chart a brighter future 1 week at a time. Find out how you can be a mentor by visiting LincolnTeammates.org. Become what you needed as a kid by joining the Teammates Mentoring Program today.
Live from the heart of Lincoln, America, welcome to Ticket Weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome in at Ticket Weekends. Harris Starnes on the 1s and 2s. No, this is not a Ticket Weeknight. You usually catch me from 6 to midnight, Monday through Thursday, and then on Sunday mornings. Coming in for Saturday morning as well, though, because there's plenty of things to talk about. Obviously, Husker Hoops is on the menu for this morning. An incredible win last night. If you guys want to join in, get in on the conversation. The Sartor Hamann text line always open to you, 402-464-5685. If you want to put a face to the voice, Facebook, YouTube, X, Allo, Channel 961. If you got Allo Cable. Just wrapped up with Business Builders, Matt and Rebecca, the host, as always. And they highlighted the Lincoln Women's Expo. And again, in case you missed the last hour, great opportunity for a lot of businesses. That is the January 17th, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. And then January 18th, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. So that would be couple weekends away here. So again, 2026 Lincoln Women's Expo, that is January 17th, 18th. You can find more information at lincolnwomansexpo.com. Real easy to find their information out there. With that being said, though, let's just go ahead and dive into it. Husker Hoops gets a major win yesterday versus a number 9 ranked opponent in Michigan State. And there's a lot of headlines into it. Obviously, ESPN's going to run away with the Husker players commenting, asking the fans not to storm the court, which, fair enough. I think they've proven that they belong now, and I don't think we'll be necessarily storming the court as often as we did with that such a huge win. But I totally understand why the fans had the urge to storm the court, and you even heard Tom Izzo saying go for it in his press conference, even saying that he wished he got walked over there a bit with that loss. But it just kind of highlights what a moment that was for Nebraska basketball. For the players to have that confidence, totally understood, well-deserved. I get why they feel that way. That was no surprise to them. And I think to us fans, we were still in a little bit of that water of like, well, how good is it? No way this can last. And the players, that didn't seem to ever be in their mindset. And I think that's where you get the comments from guys like Jamarcus Lawrence and Rink Mass saying, we don't need to storm the court anymore, because those guys truly believe that they are contenders, that they can make the run, not just go win the first March Madness game, but I think they got their eyes set on something much bigger than a lot of fans even put their hopes into at the beginning of this year. Now, they still got to go out and do the thing, but I think a lot of fans were still in the category of, let's just go get 20 wins, put ourselves in position to be in the tournament, whether that's 11, 12, 13, 14. We just want to get in the tournament and then try to win one. And what you saw yesterday was a team that wants a lot more than just 20 regular season wins and wants, in my mind, a lot more than just getting the first win in the March Madness tournament. I think they do a good job not looking ahead, but I think that's in the back of their mind, is that this is not a team that is just good enough to break into the tournament and then just good enough to maybe win one game. Yeah, no, the more they play, the better they look. I mean, me personally, I hate looking ahead, but you just keep looking at this team. There's a total possibility we could be talking about them in the Sweet 16. If you get through that, who knows how far this team goes? But a really collective performance. And again, they take down number 9 Michigan State and likely going to put themselves in that top 10 category for the AP poll. It's just an incredible run. Currently, the longest active winning streak in college basketball. That puts it to 18 wins. Started last year, at the end of last year, when they made a run in the college basketball crown. They found a lot of confidence there. Guys like Cale Jacobson certainly found their role and how they can contribute to this team. I was surprised he wasn't on one of those all-crown, all-selection teams for how good he was. But nonetheless, he found a lot of how he contributed to this Cornhuskers basketball team. And even a guy, Cale Jacobson, but Sam Hoiberg, more of the same. He kind of doubled down on what an awesome career he had last season in that college basketball crown. And even guys that maybe didn't flash as much in that crown, like the Burke Abear, Eucton Gels, some of the other guys who maybe got some minutes but didn't put up huge numbers. I think you see a huge benefit of why you say yes to postseason. And why, I know it's college football, but why the more silly it looks for Notre Dame just to say we're too good to go play in a postseason that isn't the college football playoffs. Anytime you can get more time with your team, more reps, more practices, more time with your coach and your assistant coaches, that's only going to build up that team chemistry if you handle it appropriately. And that's what the Huskers did. They didn't walk into the college basketball crown last year taking it lightly, that it's postseason play. Let's just have some fun. If we win, we win. If we lose, we lose. No, they went out there and every game still mattered, even though it was not the March Madness tournament. It wasn't the NIT. It was the college basketball crown. They took that thing seriously and they got a lot of awards and results for it. And you're seeing it, in my opinion, bleed into this year. They have not cooled off since the ending of the college basketball crown. And it starts off with a undefeated non-con schedule. And then you double down with this huge win, your your third conference game versus another Big Ten ranked opponent. And now we're talking about Nebraska as the top 10 basketball program in the country. I mean, we can just pause on that for a second. If you would ask me, who's going to get it figured out sooner, Husker football or Husker basketball? No disrespect to Husker football. I'm still begging and hoping and wanting to believe that those guys will figure it out and that team will be able to contend in the national picture later in the season. But I would have never guessed that basketball is going to figure it out sooner than football. Not that is any disrespect from Hoiberg. I've said that last night. I've always kind of stood on the ground of I think Fred Hoiberg was a very good coach. I know some texters thought I was an idiot for saying that when we went through some of those really bad seasons where it was hard to find the silver linings in some of those losses. When you have a season where you're rolling out, Brant Banks and Noah Vedral, no disrespect to those guys, but those are a couple of football players. I mean, we're just trying to put a roster together. And then you look at the resources of what Fred Hoiberg has to work with. This is not me, slamming our NIL department, but you can't tell me that Michigan State doesn't have a superior advantage when it comes to paying their basketball roster and getting some of the better talent in those doors. I'm sure Nebraska gets some money, and I'm sure, the success they're having, they're probably going to get an upgrade in how much money they have to go out and recruit players and go to the portal if need be. But when you talk about the resources of what some of these other college basketball programs have compared to what Nebraska basketball has, it's an incredible feat that they are currently sitting there and not just a hypothetical top 10 team in the country. I mean, they're out there proving it. They were even favored in that game. I mean, and again, I think that goes back to Rink Mast and Jamarcus Lawrence saying, we love the fans. We appreciate it. The place was electric. And by the way, I don't think any Husker fan took Brink Mast and what Marcus Lawrence said as like a disrespect whatsoever. I think it was just like, all right, message received. We'll start believing that you guys are exactly what you say you are because you've given us no reason not to believe you. But that's where you kind of get those comments. That these guys are totally capable of not just making postseason, but making some tremors in postseason. And that this is now, maybe an expectation that we expect to win these games at home. When Rink Mass plays, the Huskers are 28-1 at the Vault. It's always been a dominant home court appearance for the Huskers. And then you would look at some of those other real numbers, and then you see a guy like Rink Mass who we saw. I mean, that number one Purdue coming into the Vault, who had one of the biggest games that day. Rink Mass. I mean, what he does leadership wise at home is nothing else but just fascinating to watch and a little bit awe-inspiring, because you look at this Husker team, not necessarily the most athletic, definitely not the biggest, but not even the best shooting team in the country. And I think a lot of people get that mixed up if they don't watch a ton of Nebraska basketball, which is understandable when you look at the guys out there on the court. But this isn't actually like an elite three-point shooting team by any means. It's a good three-point shooting team. But the way they play, and me and Austin Norman talked about it last night on the postgame show. And if you guys want to get the direct result and the fireworks from that one, you can just go check that out. It was me, DP, Austin Norman, right after that win last night. You can rewatch it on YouTube. But what you see is just, a team that refuses to give up whatsoever and does not doubt themselves when they get these big opportunities. Incredible. We'll go through some of the box score stuff here and some of these team stats, and then we'll kind of break down, what are the keys to victory. As I mentioned, Nebraska basketball is not the most elite three-point shooting team, is not the most athletic team out there, but they play some of the best defense, and their rotation is incredible, and they do the math just right in order to win these games. And we'll get to that a little bit later. Let's go through some of the box score, though. Obviously, the Huskers win over Michigan State 58-56. Also, on a quick side note, that is the lowest scoring total the Michigan State Spartans have been held to all year. Up until that point, it was Duke was their only game where they failed to score. I believe they didn't even get to the 70s. Yeah. The lowest scoring total for the Michigan State Spartans up until that Nebraska game was 60 points in a loss to number 4 Duke, 66-60. So again, another good team to look at. And Michigan State was at home for that one. But that's kind of the contention that Nebraska's in. That's the only loss Michigan State had was to number 4 Duke. And they only lost by 6 points. Nebraska gave by far their biggest defensive nightmare of the season so far. I don't think Michigan State planned on walking into the Vault and only scoring 56 points. But Nebraska figures out ways to beat you in small ways that don't always add up on the box score. Go into the team stats, it'll kind of show some of that right there. You look at the rebounding and some of these other key stats in this game, and you might scratch your head like, how did Nebraska pull this one off? Rebounding total, the biggest discrepancy by far, it was 45-31. On top of that, Michigan State Spartans had 11 rebounds, and the Huskers actually didn't do bad on the offensive glass. They actually had 8 to keep some of their possessions alive. Free throws, Michigan State beat you in that category. They were 12 of 16, 75%. They had more, and they shot a better percentage. Nebraska was 9 of 13. They had less, and they shot worse, 69%. Three-point percentage. Well, Michigan State's got you beat there as well. 10 for 28, 36%. And then the Huskers, 13 for 37. Good enough for 35%. Difference is Huskers took just a little bit more threes. They took 37. Michigan State Spartans took 28. Field goal percentage, Huskers lost that one. They were 18 of 57 for a pretty ice cold 32% on the night. But again, their defense played good enough. But the Michigan State Spartans were 17 of 50 for a cold 34%. So, I mean, if you want to know how do you get to such a low scoring game, here's some of the numbers. I mean, both teams shot below 35% as a whole from the just overall, and only Michigan State shot 36% from 3, which is a good number. I think anybody would take that. And then the Huskers shot 35% from 3, which, and those aren't bad numbers whatsoever. But if you're going to take 37 threes, it's got to be around that marker, at the very least around 30. 4%, and they were just right there with it. And then, of course, the free throw numbers. Credit for the Huskers for not letting that number get bigger. I mean, that Michigan State Spartans team, towards the end of the game, I think it was like 9 minutes left to go in the second half, was in double bonus. Or excuse me, not double bonus, but they were in bonus. And then towards the end, they got into double bonus. They got into foul trouble a little bit early, and they did a good job. Still playing really good defense without just letting Michigan State go to the line over and over and over. Especially when you look at some of those games in the past, and that's kind of where Nebraska's gotten into trouble. You can look back to that Illinois road game where the Huskers felt like in pretty good control for a lot of that second half. And then there becomes this run of unable to secure rebounds. It turns into second chance points. It turns into more free throws because they're out there playing a lot more defense. And then before you knew it, Illinois was in the double bonus for a good extent of that second half in that road game where the Huskers would end up pulling out another victory, obviously, because they're still undefeated, sitting here at 14-0. But that was, I think, the biggest concern was the rebounds. And then can we keep our hands down enough to not let the Michigan State Spartans just shoot a ton of free throws and be able to ice this game, especially when they're in a road environment. It's one of the easiest things to do is just kind of settle in, slow the game down, make some easy shots, get the fan base a little bit sleepy, although that was a big ask yesterday to try to quiet down that fan base, and just go to the line and slowly chip away at that lead. Huskers, I thought, did a pretty good job not allowing that to happen. Despite what the rebounding discrepancy shows, I think in that second half, you saw some serious effort in able to get some of those rebounds and just stop second chance points for the Spartans. That allows a 2-point win. The assist total for the Huskers, once again, pretty solid there. 15 assists. And how many turnovers? They had 8 turnovers. So pretty close to that 2-to-1 ratio, that nothing that you dislike there. And for the Spartans, this is where, again, we went through all these numbers. Where did the Michigan State Spartans lose the game? The Spartans would leave with 19 turnovers and only 12 assists. That's what you call negative assist to turnover ratio. Not great there. Points off turnovers. The Huskers actually didn't necessarily score a ton off of turnovers. They only got 6, which is kind of crazy when you think of the Spartans had 19 turnovers and we only got 6 points off of them. Now, you'd like a lot more than that, but at the end of the day, with 19 turnovers, that's still a possession you're taking out of Michigan State's hands. Of course, you'd like to score on a lot more, and as opposed to only getting 6 points off of all. I mean, 19 turnovers is a lot, and to be only get 6 points of is kind of a crazy stat line. But at the end of the day, that is still a possession you're taking out of the Spartans' hands, a possession that they don't have the ability to get a point on. That's pretty simple to understand there. And a lot of it was through steals. The Huskers, once again, defensively, you see it night in, night out for those guys. Very active hands. They do not let teams comfortably operate their offense. If you want to go drive, you're probably going to get double teamed. If you even think about going baseline, they're going to put a hard stop to that. They will wall you up there, allow a help defender to come over, try to dig, steal it. And if you're good enough to kick it out, the Huskers are good enough to rotate with you. That's the game they kind of play. They will take a 30, 32, 35 plus threes a game. They will challenge the other team to do so. But I think the Huskers trust themselves defensively more than they trust other teams. And they think, this is my opinion, that math works out in their favor 9 times out of 10. It's worked out 14 times out of 14. I mean, it's incredible what they do. Like I said, the points off turnovers, just surprising you only get 6, but you are taking a possession away from the Spartans. Points in paint, kind of a bizarre stat. Again, both teams only had 10 points in the paint all night. Unreal number, especially again, you think of this Nebraska basketball team, and Berke Berjutengel does a very good job defensively. But when he's off the court, we haven't seen a ton of Garcia yet, although I think he definitely shows some flashes, and he's definitely got the size to be a really good defender. Offensively, I think I've seen some really promising things already. He's got some fancy footwork for a big man, and he's taken a few threes. I don't know if his 3-point shot's there. He did hit a few, I believe, in his first few games where he really got some minutes in there. Cooled off since. Again, he's taking maybe 1 or 2 a game when he does get in there. But what he does, size-wise, is he's another body to throw in there. We just haven't seen a ton of him yet, but I am high on him. We just haven't seen a ton of exposure for him. And then, of course, you got some other bigs like Leo Curtis. Again, another guy who maybe in situations down the year here, we will see him more, but he hasn't really been in there a lot. All this to say, I mean, it's kind of Burke Bayukingel and Rink Mast, and then a bunch of guards coming in there to rake and try to pry the ball away. And you're not seeing teams do a good job taking advantage of it. But again, that all goes back to how the Huskers play defense. They're going to refuse to give you points in the paint, or at least try their very best to. They like playing that math where we're going to make you take, if you want to try to win, a bunch of threes, or at least that's the shot we're going to kind of allow. And I have to explain this every time because it sounds silly when you say they're allowing 3-point shots. No, they're not rolling out the red carpet for these guys to go take wide open 3-point shots. They're going to trap inside. They're going to try to put a lot of pressure. Like I said, especially if you go baseline, not give you that whatsoever. Kick it out. And then as you kick it out, the Huskers are going to try their best to rotate with you and try to get back out on the perimeter and match up. If you swing the ball well enough, you might get a wide open shot. But so far, teams have been really struggling to find that wide open shot. Yes, they're giving up the 3, but it is still a contested 3 because the Huskers are doing, I think, that good of a job still rotating off of those traps inside defensively. And I think you see this with an older roster and what Fred Hoiberg has been able to do. You know, talk about a program with guys that trust their coaches and a coach that trusts their guys. And I said this last night, and I'll say it one more time before I go to break here. It sounds cliche. It really does, but you see it a lot. Go look at the champions of any sport. Those guys, they talk about each other like a family. I mean, there's that literal buy-in that you can see. There is no selfishness in that room. You see that again with that assist to turnover ratio that shows up over and over and over in these wins for Nebraska. Is a 2-1 or sometimes even better. Even in some of their, worst games, it's never negative by any means, just not a 2-1 like you want. You see a very unselfish team. And that bleeds into, I think, how they're defensively so connected as well. All these guys, I think, have been around each other enough. And then, of course, some of these newer faces are starting to familiarize themselves with this Nebraska defense and how they like to operate. But Rank Mass, Burke Bayukingel, Sam Hoiberg, Cale Jacobson starting to understand the assignment now. Jamarcus Lawrence, welcome back. He kind of knew what Fred Hoiberg liked to do before. Then I believe he went to Rhode Island, could have been New Hampshire as well. He takes off, hits the portal. We wish the best of luck to him. He comes back, and you can see that he fully understands how this Fred Hoiberg team wants to operate. And again, he's an unselfish player. He makes the right pass a lot of times. You're not going to see him take unwarranted shots early into the shot clock. A really unselfish team. And that's what's leading to a lot of their success. We'll get into the box score on the second segment. So don't go anywhere. Again, this is Ticket Weekends, not weeknights, with Harrison Arns running the 1s and 2s. I go solo for a couple more segments. And then we got DP. He is in the station today. He'll hop on next with me for the next hour or 2 at the very least. So don't go anywhere. I got 2 more segments. And then, of course, DP will join me at the top of the next hour right here, 93.7 The Ticket, ticketfm.com.
Don't be fooled by the typical holiday ads this year. A new car for your significant other is a dream, but not a likely reality. Why not upgrade the current car you have with a detail? This year's hot item is a gift certificate from Nebraska Auto Detail to make your car look and smell fully refreshed again. We all have clutter and we all make messes, but it doesn't have to stay like that. Give the gift of a clean car this holiday. Buy your certificate at NebraskaAutoDetail.com or call 402-601-5086 for an appointment today.
With UBT, you've got total control over your money. Like Doug, who runs his game day tailgate like a well-oiled machine.
I got burgers, brats, chicken, dogs, plus all the fixins'. And with the UBT Go app, I can track my food spending from anywhere.
Pro move.
They don't call me Grill Sergeant for nothing.
No matter your goals, UBT helps you feel good about reaching them. Union Bank and Trust. Member FDIC.
Hey guys, it's Carly from Boyd Farm Outfitters. Farmers, you need to know about Green Eye Spot Spray. With Green Eye, we replace your existing spray boom with a brand new aluminum boom equipped with camera technology that identifies and sprays only weeds and not your crop. The boom comes with 2 spray lines so you can still broadcast residual herbicide while you're spot spraying weeds that are up. Green Eye users in Nebraska are saving a ton of money on herbicides, but that's just the beginning. Learn more at BoydFarmOutfitters.com. That's BOECK FarmOutfitters.com.
This is Bill Mitchner, Executive Director of Lincoln Lighthouse. Did you know Lighthouse provides multiple programs for students such as one-on-one tutoring and mentoring, as well as pro-social skill exercises, while providing them a nourishing meal and a safe space during all months of the year, even during school breaks. Learn more or contribute to Lighthouse at lincolnlighthouse.org today.
All right, Lincoln, if you're a diesel technician who's ready to earn up to $40 an hour and you're tired of working nights and weekends, listen up. Inland Truck Parts and Service is hiring experienced diesel technicians right here in Lincoln, and they're offering what every hardworking tech wants. Monday through Friday hours, no nights, no weekends, and paid training on advanced diesel technology. With 37 locations across 12 states, career advancement opportunities are endless. Start building towards your future and apply today at inlandtruck.com. That's inlandtruck.com. Or text APPLY to 785-369-1320.
Rico here with HIS Auto Care at 70th and Van Dorn, letting you know HIS is a great place to bring your vehicle for service. With superior service bumper to bumper, we'll treat your vehicle like it's your mother's. Doesn't get any better than that. So call 402-488-8934 and HIS Auto will make you glad you did. 5% off, mention this ad, and for sure your mother will be proud you called. 402-488-8934, HIS Auto Care, 70th and Van Dorn. God bless you.
Select Plumbing and Utility has been serving Lincoln and the surrounding area for 14 years, and they're not slowing down. Select Plumbing and Utility handles all your plumbing needs, from faucets and water heaters to full renovations, and they can even help with your heating and cooling needs. They're also Lincoln's underground experts, repairing and replacing broken underground water and sewer lines since day one. Contact Select Plumbing and Utility today at 402-560-6197, assuring excellence in every situation, opportunity, and challenge. That's 402-560-6197.
Want to quit tobacco? You don't have to do it alone. The Nebraska Tobacco Quit Line can help you quit any type of tobacco. We offer professional coaches to help you create a personalized quit plan with an online community to support you along the way. Plus, we'll connect you to resources like medications to help you quit, so you have everything you need to become tobacco-free. Quit with confidence. Call 1-800-QUIT-NOW. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired in association with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Hey, it's me, your cell phone. We need to talk about something. Something serious. I know you love me. I know you like using me wherever you are, but I feel like this isn't working out when you're driving. I know you may think that it's possible to focus both on me and the road, but I just don't feel the same way. I think we should spend time away from each other when you're driving. It's for the best.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Are you tired of living in pain? At Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery, they make it simple. From head to toe, spine to extremities, they've got you covered. Their multi-specialty team of experts in orthopedic surgery, plastic surgery, podiatry, physical therapy, and occupational therapy all work under one roof to get you back to living life pain-free. Don't wait another day. Visit prairie-ortho.com today or call them at 402-489-4700. Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery, where healing begins.
Anderson Ford in Lincoln has 2 convenient locations, which means 2 times the customer service, 2 times the inventory, and 2 times the ability to get you in the car of your dreams. Whether you visit us on the north side or the south side, you'll find more selection and a team that's always on your side. When you're looking for a better way to buy your next Ford, visit Anderson Ford in Lincoln, where exceptional service meets unbeatable selection.
A new year means it's time to try new things. If you haven't tried Führer's cheese spread yet, the time is now. For the days you don't want to go to the gym, don't worry. Führer's cheese spread is there to cheer you up. And for the days you do get to the gym, why not celebrate when you get back with the best dip around? Get to your local grocery store today and load up on Führer's cheese spread. No event or party is complete without it on your table.
Back to the Ticket weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back in. Again, Ticket Weekends with Harrison Arens. Got this segment and then one more after going solo here. You guys are always welcome to join in. 402-464-5685. Starter Human text line as always. Break it down the 14-0 Nebraska basketball Cornhuskers as they get a big win over number 9 Michigan State. Number 13 Huskers at that. We'll see where they land up after that big win. If they crack that top 10, I'd imagine at the very least they're sitting right at 10. But we'll have to wait and see. Also, I don't know if people keep track of the net rankings, but with that win yesterday, they jumped up 4 spots. They are now sitting at number 11 in the net rankings as well. If you want to get into Ken Palm, all that good stuff. Huskers moved up after last night's win is the biggest answer there, and they moved up significantly in a lot of those categories. As I mentioned, let's dive into a little bit of the box score. Who are those key guys in this matchup versus the Michigan State Spartans? I mentioned it before. Rink Mast, he's kind of been that guy, especially at home for us. And once again, he was the leading scorer. Wasn't the most efficient night for him, but it was incredibly efficient from the three-point line. He was 19 points on the day for 36 minutes. 6 for 15 on the floor, but 6 of 13 from the three-point line, just shooting under 50%. He also puts up 7 rebounds, 3 assists, and 3 turnovers, but 3 blocks to go along with it as well. You also have your Sam Hoiberg, who we keep highlighting here, was your lead assister of the night with 5 assists. He only put up 4 points. Wasn't the best shooting night for him as he was 0 for 2 from a three-point line and 1 for 5 field goal percentage. But once again, 0 turnovers and 5 assists. We keep talking about the assist to turnover ratio. There's a reason why ours is so high. I mean, you got a guy in Hoiberg who, I mean, he gives you anywhere between 3 to what feels like 7 assists a night with 1 turnover at the most. I'd have to look back and see if there's a turnover game with Sam Hoiberg where this season, last year, you can go find games last season where he's had some unfortunate turnover games. I don't know if it's a mental thing for him, if it was an X's and O's thing, but he's really controlled his turnovers. And it could just be confidence as well. When you see him go in to drive, he's looking to score a lot more. There's times in the past where it felt like he maybe should have looked to score and he's so worried about getting blocked. It makes sense. Undersized guard that he would sometimes force a pass that wasn't there. And that's where a lot of his turnovers were coming from. It was just not being aggressive enough and other teams understanding that he doesn't want to score. So that they'd kind of just hang out in those passing lanes, waiting for him to be passive. This year, you're not seeing him be passive. You're seeing him go after them aggressively, looking to score. And then if it's not there, he'll kick it out. And I think that's just made the game a lot easier for him, was understanding how to finish around the trees, understanding that lack of aggression was leading to, I think, opponents just kind of hanging out in those passing lanes. This season, he's just aggressive. You can't be passive with him. You know, for being undersized, he will strong enough to kind of put a shoulder into you and push you out of the way and create just a sliver of an angle. Now, obviously, you've got 7-footers in there. He's going to jump stop and probably find a way to kick that one back out. But again, just credit to him for what he's done and being able to get that many assists and keep it clean. I think a big part of that's just his aggressiveness. No longer a passive player offensively. He's always been great at the little things. Last year, same thing, great at the little things. I think this year, the biggest difference is he's just aggressive. And that aggressiveness is making the game a lot easier for him, and he deserves a ton of credit for it. Jamarcus Lawrence in this one, he had 12 points, 3 of 8 from the floor, 1 of 4 from 3, but he was 5 for 5 from the line. I believe the only player to go perfect. Yeah, perfect from the line, only a Husker player to do so. And he gives you 3 assists as well. Unfortunately, 3 turnovers to go along with it. Just a pretty solid game from him. We talk about Jamarcus Lawrence. He's just a guy that you feel comfortable with the ball. Is the easiest way I can say it. You know, 3 turnovers, a little higher than you would like, but not crazy. You know, for how good that Michigan State defense was. And it was kind of pesky last night. They did a good job, I thought. Some of it, bad shooting from the Huskers. A lot of it, you do credit Tom Izzo and the Michigan State Spartans for playing as soundly as they did defensively. As much as I'd like to credit the Huskers for not allowing the Michigan State Spartans to get comfortable, there was a lot of that going on for Michigan State as well. I mean, the Huskers' threes were not going down the way we would have liked, especially early on. And as the game continued, like I said, we just kind of played that math just right where, listen, both teams aren't shooting great. I think we'll shoot just a little bit better. And if we take enough threes, eventually that'll add up to a lead. And you saw that. I think it was like 28 threes from the Spartans and then the 37 for the Huskers. So the Huskers get out rebounded. They lose the free throw battle. but they make just enough more threes to get over that hump and get the lead. It's crazy what math you can do. If you take enough threes and you can hover around 35%, you'll get to the end of the game. And a lot of times you'll often be just around or leading. It's kind of a new era of basketball. It doesn't always make sense. But the way this Fred Hoiberg teams, like that's kind of been the story. You have to kind of match us for threes. And if you can't do it, you're probably going to end up behind towards those closing minutes, unless you have a ridiculous free throw margin, which the Spartans didn't have a ridiculous one, but a significant one. And then, of course, the Spartans would have won that game, but they turned it over way too many times. That many turnovers really killed their opportunities. And like I said, the math right for the Huskers. Let's get to the text line here. 7809 says, I still can't tell if it was an off night for both teams or if it was good defense with how low the points were. I think it's a sign of our defense. I really do. I mean, this has been pretty consistent with the Nebraska Cornhuskers, is they can kind of play you in a few different ways. And when you go through the Nebraska scores, if we just go through, they can score, they can beat you by playing you in a shootout where it's 105-99, where they beat Oklahoma earlier in the year, or they can beat you in a low scoring affair with Michigan State, where it's 58-56. They can meet you somewhere in the middle, like Illinois, where they win 83-80. And then they can flat out really just shut you down 71-50 in the win versus Creighton. I think that's the lowest total we held anybody. We held Maryland Easter to 50 points. And then we've also held, it would have just been two teams so far that the Huskers have held that to 50 points, or I should say 60 points or under. But I think it's just a very good defensive team. I mean, I talk about it all the time. That's what you see with the team. They're not going to give you the points in the paint very easily. They're going to make you play that 3-point game with the Huskers. And I think the Huskers just have a better idea on how they want to attack and win these games. And if teams aren't careful, if they're not taking care of the ball, they'll look up. And despite a bad shooting night, the Huskers end up with a huge lead. I shouldn't say huge lead. They end up with a 2-point lead. Huge lead is a big misstatement there, but just incredible. And I don't know how much of that is talked about or if it's just understood within the program. If that's how they want their offense to operate, night in, night out. Some of the other guys in there, Price Sanford, once again, he was awesome. 13 points. Wasn't the highest scoring affair, but 5 for 13. He was 3 for 8 from the 3-point line. He had 1 turnover, 0 assists, 3 rebounds to go along with it. And the thing that Sanford does is he's just a guy that you have to commit to. You're seeing that with defenses now, somewhat to what K-State Tamanaga kind of had, that magic of even if K-State Tamanaga would start the game going like 0 for 4 from the 3-point line, teams would not sag off him because the moment he makes 1, you start sweating. He makes 2. Okay, now you're just really nervous. He makes 3 straight. Now you got a problem. Sanford is the type of guy that you cannot allow to get hot. And teams have to respect that. I can't remember which game it was. It might have been that Oklahoma game where he went absolutely nuclear from the 3-point line in that first half. And in that second half, did he do as much? No. But that's because Oklahoma, and I believe it was Oklahoma, text line, correct me if I'm wrong, 402-464-5685. Regardless of the team, the point stays the same. Even in that second half, it didn't matter if he wasn't as hot as he was in the first, or if he wasn't as big a part of the offense as he was in the first half. The team had to chase him. Shout out, James and Lincoln. Thank you. It was Illinois. That's right. It was on the road. Yeah, 26 points in the first half against Illinois. Thank you. Yes, that is the correct game. But in that game, the second half is where I'm talking about. Like, he didn't have to score 26 points in the second half or even close to 26 points because the defense had to respect him to such a degree that the spacing on the floor was there. They could not leave him alone, even if he was not as red hot in the first half, because there was the opportunity that he starts going red hot again. And then if he's red hot, if you get another 26-point second half from Sanford, well, then that Illinois game, we're not talking about an 83-80 win. We're talking about the Huskers winning by 10, probably likely more points. But it's that spacing that he creates. And it's incredible to see what he was at Iowa. I was super high when we got him because Sanford, I mean, he was killing us last year, if we're being honest. He just coming off the bench. We knew what he was capable of. So you see him in the Husker uniform, you kind of knew what you were getting with him. And he's lived up to it in a big way. And I think in this new spotlight, in the Fred Hoiberg offense, his game works incredibly well. The Iowa offense is, we're going to take a ton of threes, but we're going to not necessarily even be patient the same way that the Husker offense is. Iowa does the same kind of math where they're going to take a ton of threes. I think the biggest difference is they really aren't as patient, and they're a little bit more aggressive about playing that 3-point battle with teams and just trying to score more threes than you. And it's not always the best shot, but it works out. I mean, last year, if you remember those games with Iowa, there were some 3-point shots that you're like, okay, you want to call it luck, but hey, they made them. But they're contested threes that they were making. When Iowa last year was struggling from three, but they're taking a ton still early in the shot clock, then they'd run into trouble. Nebraska, at the very least, yes, they'll play that 3-point battle, but they're going to be patient with it. They'll get into the 30s. I will get into the 40s if they have the opportunity to. James and Lincoln, he has one more here. Talking about that Illinois game, again, where Price Sanford was just electric in that first half where he dropped 26 points. Talking about the second half, he says then they keyed in on him in Mast, ended up scoring 13 or 15 points or something. Yeah, Rink Mast, again, that's kind of been the tandem right there. Price Sanford, Rink Mast, arguably the two best offense players on this team so far. And, Rink Mast is kind of similar. When he's hot, you can't leave him alone, especially at the top of the key. That seems to be, I like to see the charts on the red zones and the cold spots for this Husker offense. I could probably tell you right now, on the wing, Price Sanford is red hot. And at the top of the key, Rink Mast, I mean, that thing's got to be just a lava zone for how efficient he's been up there at the top of the key. So again, it just allows that spacing. You get both those guys going at the same time, this team can beat anybody. Because now it opens up things for Sam Hoiberg when he wants to drive and operate and attack inside. And then he's a great enough passer that we talked about already with his incredible just assist to turnover ratio. I know at the beginning of last week, he was leading the country in assist to turnover ratio. I'm not sure if it's still there, but again, with another 5 assists, 0 turnover night, he's most likely in that top 10. And all credit goes to him for being able to do that this year. But you got a team that's very connective tissue-wise as opposed to how they want to operate. And if Sanford gets hot, Mast gets hot, you can throw in another one in there, whether it's Jamarcus Lawrence, Sam Hoiberg, Cale Jacobson. What it allows is incredible spacing. And when you have a veteran team, and I think we're seeing this more and more, if you go look at March Madness last year, you'll find a pattern when you start getting to Sweet 16 and up. You meet teams that don't have a ton of transfers. They're older guys, second, third, 4-year guys, or even that 5th-year guy. The experience pays off. And it's something that if you can find a way to keep your roster together and you can keep those players committed and trust that I don't need to score the most points or I don't need to have an insane amount of minutes. I don't need to be a really high usage rate. I can operate within the team offense and I'll get mine eventually. And when you got a bunch of other guys that understand that and they're committed to it and they fully believe in the coach, which again, I don't talk to the guys, but just seeing what I see on the court, that's what it looks like. And that's what it sounds like when you listen to the press conferences, that there's ultimate buy-in from staff and players. You get an older team that knows how to play college basketball, that knows what they're looking for, that's been in high pressure environments, that's, been down by 10 in big games, it's been up by 10 in big games. And again, I go all the way back to those comments with Jamarcus Lawrence and Rink Mast at the very beginning of the show. And telling the Husker fans, I get it. We don't need to storm the court anymore. Like, this is an expectation. We're an older team. We're a veteran team. We are 13-0 before that Michigan State game. We took down a very good Illinois team on the road, who Illinois, after that loss to the Huskers, picked themselves right back up with some impressive wins of themselves. Simply put, there's kind of putting it out there like, this is a team that you got to respect now. The shocker would be if we lost at home yesterday. I think that's the message that they were trying to send. And well said, because like I said, 14-0, it's hard to argue with a team that just keeps finding ways to win. All right, we'll throw it to break one more time. If you got any final second comments you want to get in here, I'll have one more segment, about 5 minutes or so before DP joins me on the other side. 402-464-5685. We'll wrap up right there on this segment. Don't go anywhere. Like I said, one more Harrison Arndt on the ones and twos. Take a weekend. Talk to you in a bit.
93.7 The Ticket is proud to provide listeners with daily opportunities to win contests and prizes on our airwaves, and would like to take this opportunity to remind you of a couple rules. All participants must be 21 or older and must wait 30 days after winning a prize to participate in another contest. Once you win, you have 30 days to pick up your prize at the KNTK Studios, 1040 O Street in Lincoln, or your prize will be forfeited. Thank you for participating in our contests, and thank you for listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Coppell Chevrolet GMC, the #1 fastest growing GMC dealer in the Omaha and Lincoln area. We are going to keep this train rolling in a big way with new half-ton and 4x4 pickup trucks starting at $12,500 off list price or 0% financing. You heard that right, $12,500 off list price or 0% financing. You pick which one works better for you. Please stop on in the dealership and meet the team or check us out at coppellcars.com. Stock number C280930. All deals with approved credit.
Unearth the secret to long-lasting tires at Tread's Central Tire Pros, a league apart in commitment, service, and expertise. This isn't just about rubber meeting the road, but trust, safety, and surety converging in perfect harmony. This is where expectations are exceeded every time. Make your appointment today at Tread's Central Tire Pros, just south of Cortland on Highway 77, or visit our website to explore our services. Remember, when it comes to tires, choose Tread's Central Tire Pros because we tread differently.
Winter is just around the corner. Is your vehicle ready? Don't get left out in the cold. At A1 Automotive, we prep your car for whatever winter throws your way here in Nebraska. For battery checks, brake inspections, tires, heaters, whatever your car needs to keep you and your family safe on the road, we've got you covered. A1 Automotive, always honest answers.
Bagels and Joe is the best place to start off your mornings, and you can order your breakfast ahead of time on their app. You can't go wrong with one of their great bagel sandwiches or breakfast burritos. Stop by any of their 4 locations in Lincoln and their location in Seward. Bagels and Joe.
Hey there, this is Paul Scheel, owner of High Electric. I want to thank our friends and loyal customers and introduce High Electric to those looking for a new electrician. We've been serving the Lincoln and Omaha area for over 30 years, from design to install, upgrades, and repair. If you are a homeowner or a small business needing some electrical work, call us at 402-466-6606 or check us out at hyelectric.com. We look forward to hearing from you.
When you were a kid, clubs were cool. Robotics club and space club and stuff like that. But what do adults get? Book clubs and quilting clubs? Nah, forget that. How about margarita clubs and old-fashioned clubs? Get to Upside Bar and Lounge for the best clubs in town. Try all 10 varieties of Upside margaritas or old-fashions and take home a free souvenir glass. Grab the whole crew and pair it with taco night on Mondays or whiskey Wednesdays. Upside Bar and Lounge at 29th and Pine Lake.
When it comes to concrete, Stevens & Smith Construction doesn't stall. They go for the takedown. As Nebraska's full-service concrete contractor, they stay in bounds, hold inside position, and never forfeit quality. Whether it's foundations, flatwork, or concrete coatings, they elevate performance and pin down results that win every time. Stevens & Smith Construction is a proud sponsor of Takedown Tuesdays on 93.7 The Ticket. Because when it's time to wrestle with concrete, Stevens & Smith Construction slams expectations.
A new season, a home crowd, a fresh start. Love Nebraska opens its 2026 home schedule on Sunday, January 11th at Baxter Arena, hosting Love Houston in the home opener. First serve is set for 3 p.m., and the excitement starts the moment the doors open. Don't miss the chance to see elite professional volleyball featuring Olympians, All-Americans, national champions, and more as the season officially gets underway. It's opening night, Nebraska. Be there. Get tickets now at lovneb.com/tickets.
Hey guys, it's Carly from Boyd Farm Outfitters. Farmers, you need to know about Green Eye Spot Spray. With Green Eye, we replace your existing spray boom with a brand new aluminum boom equipped with camera technology that identifies and sprays only weeds and not your crop. The boom comes with 2 spray lines so you can still broadcast residual herbicide while you're spot spraying weeds that are up. Green Eye users in Nebraska are saving a ton of money on herbicides, but that's just the beginning. Learn more at BoydFarmOutfitters.com. That's BOECK FarmOutfitters.com.
Back to the Ticket weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, final segment. Harrison Arens going solo as always. 402-464-5685. We got DP joining me at the top of the next hour here. Again, we're just celebrating what has been a perfect start to the Husker basketball season and continued perfect start as they won the college basketball crown, the longest active winning streak in all of college basketball. Looking like a top 10 program right here in Lincoln, Nebraska. Who would have thought the state that, man, I don't even know when it was. I don't even know if there's a shot clock. I hope there's a shot clock in high school sports now. I know when I was playing, there wasn't even a shot clock, which was crazy. It led to some really bad offenses. Like, I'll be out. Nobody wants to watch that, where a team can have the lead and just milk out the possession. It's been one of my beefs. It's like, we gotta have better basketball here in the state. Step one, let's get a shot clock. Every class can do a shot clock. You can crank it up 32 seconds, 28, whatever you want to do, 35 seconds. The state needs a shot clock. So I could be wrong. Hopefully there is a shot clock in every class now. I think in the higher classes there is. I would be unsure if we're talking about C2, C1, D2, D1, if those guys have their shot clocks yet. But I would love to see it. It allows for better basketball, allows for better decision making, and it just puts a clock on the players. So all that to say, who would have thought that Nebraska basketball, a state that is not known for basketball, that doesn't even have shot clock in some of their classes, at least to my knowledge, is one of the top 10 programs in the country, Lincoln, Nebraska. And I think that's a totally fair statement at this point. I mean, they're 14-0. They got 2 ranked wins versus very good opponents. They got a good win versus non-con teams as well, Oklahoma State being in that mix. There's going to be bigger games ahead. There's still Michigan way down the pipeline. You got Ohio State this Monday, and that is a very good Ohio State team. They only got a few losses on the season, and that's a quick turnaround, for these Huskers. It's been odd. It seems like we've had a week to prepare for the likes of, Maryland, Easter, North Dakota, New Hampshire. And then we have weeks where it's like, hey, you have Creighton, Wisconsin, and a road game versus Illinois all in the same week. Good luck. It's been a little bizarre the way the scheduling's worked. And then once again, you get number 9 Michigan State. Turn around, go on the road, and you got Ohio State on the 5th. Yeah, so that one's going to be Monday. And that one is 5:30 Central Time. And then they get a nice little, 5-day break, and then they're on the road again versus Indiana. And that one is on the 10th. So they get a Monday and then a Saturday game this next week. And then we're just officially off and rolling in Big Ten play. They don't get another ranked opponent, at least not as of now. Some of these rankings will obviously change as these games go on. The ranked opponents are left on their schedule. The probably the biggest team to keep your eye on, not just for us, but in the national conversation of college basketball. Number 2, Michigan. And that one is a ways away. That is towards the end of this month on January 27th. And then they get Illinois at home right after Michigan. So a couple of tough back-to-back ones. And then they get a ranked Illinois towards the end. And then they finish the year with a ranked Iowa. Excuse me. They got a ranked USC as well. And Purdue. Big Ten's just going to have ranked teams throughout. Like I said, these numbers are going to move up and down. But we're officially in Big Ten play. I mean, there's going to be plenty more big games to be had. And I think Ohio State, I know they're not ranked. That's a huge win. That is a very good Ohio State team. And winning that one on the road on a quick turnaround on a Monday at 5:30, that's one where I don't like making predictions. But if the Huskers could get that one done, boy, that team is red hot. And I don't know when the next loss would be. I really don't. I do not overlook the Ohio State Buckeyes. That is a good team, and that is a tough place to play. The Buckeye Nation, I mean, their fan base is on fire. They're pretty happy with how things are going. It's a competitive team. I think that place will be electric. Even though it's a Monday, it'd be a tough game. I think the Huskers are good enough to pull it off, though. Unknown texter. Glass D is the 2nd year of shot clock. Okay, sweet. So we do have the shot clock officially. That's fantastic. It is one of my biggest pet peeves. That's awesome to hear. I'm glad we do have the shot clock. Let's see here. Yeah, Ben Garver chimes in. Text Nick Stainer. Nick Stainer would know about shot clock, but we got our guy, 0338, getting it corrected for us. Okay, that's awesome. Yeah, when I was growing up, I know we didn't have a shot clock, and it was like one of the, I thought, biggest crimes in basketball. And like me in high school understood that. Like, why do we not have a shot clock? And I did talk to some of the refs. People said, well, we need shot clock operators. Obviously, you have to make sure all the schools have shot clocks before you can implement it. So I understand the timeline of things, but that's awesome. I'm glad that they finally got that cleared up, though, because it just creates better basketball. I think we all have some moments, especially anyone in my age or older, that remembers watching some of the NSAA state championship playoff or just the playoff games when it gets to postseason. And you would get to some of those games where it's like, they would not play offense. I mean, they would have the lead, and there would be like 9-10 minutes to go in the final quarter of the game, and the team would just refuse to do anything offensively because they had a big enough cushion. And it's like, if we just play keep away, we'll win the game eventually. I get it. I don't want to shun anyone for playing that way, but yuck. Like, who wants to watch that? That's not making anyone better playing keep away. That's not a real game. When those guys get to college, they're never going to be in a situation, if they make it to college, where, hey, let's just play keep away here. We got a 10-point lead and there's 10 minutes left. I think we can pull this one off. So no, that's fantastic. Appreciate the text line for informing me on that one. But nonetheless, that's going to wrap it up here for us. As I mentioned, Huskers stay undefeated. The Husker men's basketball team, the women's team, they took a couple of tough losses, unfortunately, back to back versus USC and the Hawkeyes, but they're still promising in the running for sure in some postseason play. And the men's team, they got Ohio State up next Monday, 5:30. Like I said, don't overlook Ohio State Buckeyes. They're a good team. It's going to be a tough environment, but if there's anything this Husker men's basketball team has shown us, don't doubt them as they keep finding ways to win. Appreciate you guys listening. Don't go anywhere, though. We got DP coming up next. He will join me at the top of the hour right here at 93.7 The Ticket. Ticket Weekends, Saturday, January 3rd. We'll talk to you then.